Started. Y'all ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
Yep.
Joe, you ready, Juice?
Yeah, I was trying to get something from my Snapchat real quick.
I see. That's what's up, man. Phil, you ready?
Yep. Just excuse me for a second. Go ahead.
It's all good. Sarah, you ready?
I'm ready. I just hope my dog is ready.
Hope your dog is ready?
Yes.
All right, let's rock and roll then. We good?
Yeah.
All right, man. We're about to get started. So I just want to welcome everybody to Jump Recruits' first event. This is our virtual panel. Secure the bag from college to career. My name is Sheldon Brumell, also known as Shell. I want to tell you a little bit about Jump before I introduce our panelists. So Jump is a diversity recruitment business that features a career and development platform dedicated to helping underrepresented minorities, such as us, such as people like you, people of color, not only to secure jobs, but to grow through professional development opportunities. Our platform will be launching soon, but in the meantime, we're going to be hosting webinars and virtual panels such as this. You're going to be getting all types of information from us, and these opportunities will help you advance in your professional endeavors. Also, I encourage you to visit and sign up for our beta launch of the platform, and you can find that our website at jumprecruits.com. Once again, our website is at jumprecruits.com, or if you go to any of our social medias, which will be at jumprecruits, you'll find it jumprecruits.com. So the goal of Jump Recruits is twofold. First off, for companies, we want to help companies, probably like a company that you work at, increase the diversity footprint with underrepresented minorities. We want to make it easier for these companies to find great talent such as yourselves, which is the intent of our career advancement platform that can be found at jumprecruits.com. Second, we want to help you. We want to help you get jobs. You may be saying to me, Shell, I don't want a job. I'm my own boss. I'm my own person. We got you. We understand jobs aren't for everybody. Some people want to be entrepreneurs. We definitely get that. We support that. But we also have opportunities for you as well to grow. Once again, such as this virtual panel, we're going to be releasing blogs, info sessions, whatever you need. We want to help you in your career. But the only way you can get to that information is at jumprecruits.com. Go ahead and sign up, put in your information, and you will get our information first. So now that I went through all that good stuff, I want to redirect our attention to our panelists, the guest of the hour, these very, very special individuals. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We have Phil, we have Selena, we have Julius, and we have Sarah. I'm so excited to have all of these people in my presence. I feel like I'm the lone person here, right? I'm so excited. So how about we start with Sarah? I know you're up there in Brooklyn. Let's start with your introduction.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sarah Ketchum here. I am, by day, my title is a news producer. I produce for WNBC, which is the local Channel 4 station here in the New York tri-state area. Before that, I was a producer in DC. I've lived in San Francisco, and before that, Michigan, which is Detroit is my hometown. What else are you looking for?
Oh, that's all I need. That's all I need.
Okay. So great.
How long you been living? You can go through all of it.
Okay. I was a 10th. That's my introduction.
Awesome. How about Phil? How about you?
All right. My name is Phil Lewis. I am a front page editor at HuffPost, and that pretty much means I get to sort of decide what gets to go up on our app and our website. So it's pretty fun. I get to sort of assign those stories out too, and assign our reporters things to do. What else? Went to Michigan State, and I didn't major in journalism. I actually majored in sociology, and I was a teacher for a little bit. I taught 5th grade and 7th grade in Detroit for a while, and I just sort of fell into journalism in a way. I guess we'll talk more about that. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. How about Selena?
Hello, I am Selena Monique, the CEO and founder of, ROC, which stands for Raising Our Queens, and it's a nonprofit. By day, I'm a school social worker for a county here in Atlanta, and on the weekends, I like to do hood rat things with my friends.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thanks, Selena. How about you, Julius?
My name is Julius Bryant. I'm originally from Lansing, Michigan. I went to school at Central Michigan where I double majored in marketing and logistics. I worked for a company called GE for 4.5 years in sales, marketing, and operations. Decided to leave GE to go back to school, get a little bit more education. So I went to graduate school at Emory University here in Atlanta. It's the top 25 business school. I got an MBA there, where I focused on marketing analytics, and now I'm at Amazon as a senior marketing analytics manager.
Thanks, Jules. Never heard of GE before.
Oh, I haven't. You'd be surprised.
No, it's all good. No, thank you. So once again, we do have a chat functionality, and I can see your chats. Jason said this is neat. We appreciate it. Good evening, Adriana. Hello, Michael. It is on Mike Nicholas Harper, and Sarah's replying as well. So we're going to jump right into the first question. So this is for all the panelists. We'll make it easy. This is a toss-up. What was your major? What was your major in college? I know Juicy already said theirs. Yeah. How about Sarah? What was your major?
My major was broadcast journalism, and I had a minor in leadership and I think it was media relations.
Been that long. Been that long. Huh?
Yeah, how important it was. She was like, media.
I majored in broadcast journalism, so I'm in the field. I'm in the field that I'm in.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Phil?
Yeah, so I was a sociology major, and I minored in women and gender studies. Very fun classes. I was the only guy in those classes, and that's why I stayed. So those not quite what I'm in now, but college it kind of just prepares you for everything. So I'm in journalism.
Definitely, I want to talk about that too. That's interesting. All right, how about you, Selena?
Undergrad, I started off being a pre-nursing major. Got accepted into the program and everything. Realized that wasn't for me. So I switched which was my minor at the time, to my major in health sciences with a concentration in public and community health. Graduated early and then went to obtain my master's in social work.
Awesome. And Julius, can you tell me in your own words, what is logistics? I would like to know.
Is making sure the right thing is at the right place at the right time.
That's straight from Dr. Williams. From Dr. Williams. I remember that. Right. I'm a logistics major as well, and I don't know if I can really tell you, but it's not about me. So we're going to go to the next question. Thank you for sharing that. So, did any of you have any internships in college, and how did they prepare you for your first job? So, did anybody have an internship? Show of hands. There, I see your face. Look like, did you have an internship there?
So it's no. I had no internships prior to the first job, which is weird to hear because you hear people say you gotta get an internship, you gotta get an internship, you gotta get an internship. My road is a little different. I have not named an internship before working in media, which I can't say that won't fly now because everybody's journey is different.
Right.
But what I did do while I was in school that was similar to an internship, but I was still taking classes, was this program called NASCAR Kinetics, and it was basically a group of 5 random people on campus. It was a pilot program for NASCAR to basically promote. It was what we did was promote NASCAR on campus, which is I knew that everybody. I think everybody knows NASCAR, but I wasn't a fan of NASCAR. Didn't have any friends or family that were fans of NASCAR. But what I did learn was, working in a group, and then also just the marketing, and putting on an event. We had to put on a large event for the campus, which included talking to different vendors to come out on campus and communicate. Trying to coordinate with the campus and what we could and could not do. So that was an internship in a sense. And then I just joined a lot of, I had a class that prepared me for my first job, which is my class is where I met my first boss, my first news director. And that class was basically a mini example of what I do now. It was a producing class and that is what prepared me for what I have. That is what prepared me for what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Thank you.
No internship.
And I'm still a little salty about that NASCAR thing because I went out for that too, and I didn't get it. And I think we talked about this, last time, so it's all good. Anybody else with internships? Phil, did you have one?
Yeah. Let's see. I had so I've been able to do internships since I've been in high school. In high school, I had an internship at Harper Hospital's emergency department in Detroit. So I did that for a minute when I thought I was going to be the next doctor. I did a couple of weird internships. Like I had an internship in public health when I thought I wanted to go into public health. I had an internship that was at University of Michigan. For anyone interested in public health, there was that program was called SEP. So that was a summer enrichment program for students. And then I also did a research internship at U of M as well. So I spent a lot of time at U of M. I did that was a summer research opportunity program, SROP. And then I also worked for Red Bull for a while. So I was working for Red Bull for a while, which was really fun. I got to pass out. Basically they would ship boxes of Red Bull to my dorm and I would just pass them out on campus, which was real fun. So I've been able to kind of do a lot of different things. Nothing quite in journalism, though.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, Selena, do you have any internships?
I've had a couple of internships, all very different experiences. I won't speak on each of them individually. I just kind of collectively tell you all what I've learned from them. At first I didn't get the ones that weren't good. I used to look at the bad until I met someone that showed me how to look at the bad things that occurred in internships and use them to my favor. So I'll say none of them were horrible in the sense that I learned from all of them. But I just had to find that, I guess, let me see how this works. I had to find the positive in that negative situation. And then in a sense, that's kind of what I do as a social worker. I help families and people in communities find the positive, despite the negative things that they're going through in their lives. So it kind of prepared me for that journey that I didn't even know I was going to be on in first place.
Awesome. I think it's sound went out. Or you might be good. Julie?
Here.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I did some internships as well. I won't go into like deep details of all of them. Y'all can ask more questions if y'all have them. But the summer between my junior and senior year, I interned at CVS Distribution Center. So the drugstore CVS, they have a large distribution center in Novi, Michigan, where they basically bring all their product that are going out to the stores in different areas. So I worked there in logistics the summer after my senior year. So I did 4.5 years. I interned at GE, which ended up turning into my first full-time job out of college. In business school, I interned with a company called TIAA. It's a financial services firm based out of New York. They manage retirement plans for teachers. So I did that for a summer. Then I also interned for the National Basketball Association in business marketing. And like a lot of other random stuff. Just working for free to get experience, basically. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing all of those. Once again, if anybody has any questions for our presenter, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to get most of those answered. So my next question for you, we talked a little bit about your internships, but now I want to talk about when you walked across that stage, you got rid of your cap and gown, you put on your suit, your shirt, your ties, your blouses, all that good stuff. What was your first job out of college? And I guess the second question, two-part question, was it in your field of study? The first job out of college, and was it in your field of study?
I'll start. So I think I graduated December 10th, 2010, I think. And 3 weeks later, January the 4th, I started my job at GE in Baltimore, Maryland. The job I took was, it was called the Commercial Leadership Program. So it was a rotational leadership development program in sales and marketing. So in theory, the job was in my field because it was marketing. But as I progressed through the job, I learned that the job wasn't really as much marketing as they said it was. It was much more sales than marketing. So the job I took was in my field, but I didn't necessarily get to work in my field, if that makes sense. And what was the second question?
Yes, it does.
What was the second question?
Oh, the second question was it in your field of study? So that answer.
Oh, yeah, okay. I answered it.
Yeah, you did. Selena, smiling, go ahead.
So at the time, like I said, I switched my major, and then I kind of realized doing internships that I used to originally want to be a sex educator, but then I realized in Georgia it's abstinence only. So I feel like nowadays our teenagers and the generations after us, they're gonna do what they want to do, point blank, period. So I don't want to say waste my time, but I didn't want to waste my time telling them what not to do when they were gonna do it anyway. I wanted to educate them on the correct way to go about doing things. So when I realized that, I knew I wanted to get my master's and I didn't know what I wanted it in. So to answer your question, no, the job, I was a paraprofessional. So that didn't have anything to do with either of my majors and fields of practice. However, in doing paraprofessionalism and research, I figured out that I did want to go back to school for social work. So it kind of worked out in my favor in the long run.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, so I graduated May 2013, and I was pretty nervous because I mean, before that I was pretty nervous because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated. I was just kind of just like, all right, I'm about to graduate, but I don't really have any plans. So I ended up applying for just like random things. Like I was just applying for just completely random stuff. And one of the random things I applied for was Teach for America. And so Teach for America was, a recruiter had told me about it, and they identified me, I guess, as a leader on campus or whatever. And so I was just like, okay, well, this sounds cool. I'll go back to Detroit and try to teach or whatever. But what I didn't realize was, it doesn't quite work like that. Like you should probably go ahead and do an education track. If you're really serious about going to go teach students, especially in like communities that really, really need good teachers. So as soon as I graduated, I was headed to Chicago for Teach for America Institute, and then that fall right after, I was in a classroom like by myself teaching fifth graders. So it was kind of intense. I only had like 4 weeks of like learning what it meant to be a teacher. So it was very tough. I was not very good at it, so I wasn't a very good teacher, and it was challenging.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. So we have a question from the audience. John asks, how did you set yourself apart from the hundreds and possibly thousands of graduating seniors going after the same position as you were? Juice, I'm going to bounce this question over to you because GE is a pretty big company. So how did you set yourself apart going into that rotational program?
Yeah, so for me, the program I was accepted into, when I came in, they only accepted 3 people into it from all across the country, and there were hundreds and hundreds of applicants. So I was fortunate to be selected, but it was really my performance in my internship. So I was fortunate to, even before the internship, the way I got that internship was by networking. So I was at a conference in Miami. Someone made me aware that someone from GE was in the building, and that he was a decision maker in the company. He was very high up, an executive. So I went and sat at his table and struck up a conversation. He told me what I was doing, what I was interested in. He gave me his business card. I followed up via email the next day, and he flew me out to Connecticut a few weeks later for an interview. So that was kind of like the initiation of the whole thing. But after I got the internship, I just really focused up on the internship. I knew I was there for only 3 short months. That period of time, I was being evaluated the entire time. And the goal for me at the end of that 3 months was to secure a good enough job so that I would be considered for a full-time position. So really just making myself known, doing my job, doing it well, and making sure the people around me were aware of the things that I was working on when I was doing that internship. And that, because of that, I was able to get the interview for the full-time job, and I got the job.
Awesome. So I think what I heard was networking, doing a good job, impressing the right people, and that helped you secure your job.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go to the next question. We have another one from the audience, but Toy, I'm going to pause that one for just a moment and go to our next question. What steps should a student be taking to prepare for their first job? So this kind of just jumps into what Julius was talking about, the networking piece and just doing the best job possible. But would anybody else like to add some insight? And then I'll come back to Toy's question.
Definitely networking. Networking takes you at times further than your education. Sometimes if you're in a room with 2 individuals and they're trying to choose between the 2 and they're wondering, okay, you all look good on paper, you're looking about the same old paper, between networking and personality. Those are the two things that I feel like set you apart from, the other applicants.
I love that, the personality piece. Why do you think personality is important?
Because I feel like we each bring something different to the table, and depending on the job that you're going for, they're looking for something specific. Beyond the paper and the education, they're looking for some type of kind of like a brand. You know how these different people are, cover girls and different, branding pieces for these different companies. So they're looking for something that helps set their brand apart, and personality is what's going to take you, a little bit further than the education. Because anybody can go get the education.
Right.
What after you get the education are you going to do with it?
Love it, love that answer. Phil, how about you? Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. You want to
go? No. Go ahead, Phil. I'll go after Phil.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just. That's pretty much the nail on the head. I would just say it's those intangibles that you need to kind of think about. That can separate you from just being a person on a paper. Sometimes you need to sometimes you might have to take a calculated risk, which is something I did with moving to DC and moving to New York. But there are also other ways that you can kind of separate yourself. Like, for example, we actually write a lot of stories about people that write unique cover letters. Unique cover letters that kind of separate themselves from the average. Hey, I think I think I'd be great for this position because I can do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes somebody will write a unique cover letter that might really stand out to someone, to the hiring person. So there are a lot of intangibles that you kind of got to think about as far as your brand goes, and how you can kind of separate yourself from just being a piece of paper in a huge pile.
Love it. Thank you. Sarah, how about you?
So, quick thing on the personality tip, why that's important is because you're going to be working with these people and they don't want to work with jerks. So the personality piece is important because who are you and who am I about to be working with? On top of that, networking, that word alone still intimidates the heck out of me. Because it's like network. And it's like, okay, how do you do this? And when you are networking, when you are telling people who you are and trying to get to know people, just make sure that you're trying to make genuine connections, and that you're listening while somebody's talking. And one way to, if you get up somebody's business card, if you remember one thing that they said, write it on the business card so that way you have something to follow up with them later. Just like one little tip. And then really, tell me what the original question was. What can people be doing now to prepare themselves for the first job?
Yeah, that's just it.
Oh, okay. What do you have to show for this job? Like, how are you doing this job now? Because a lot of times people want to know that you already are doing stuff. They don't, a lot of times companies be in this microwave kind of generation where you have to already have it. Back in the day, record companies used to work to produce artists. Right now, you don't have a YouTube following already, or at least crack a note. Like, nobody's messing with you. So you really should have something to show for, especially in journalism. What articles have you written? What videos have you produced? And these are things, there are tools out there, free tools out there that you can take advantage of now to be doing the job you want to be doing. It sounds like a little much like, well, I don't know how to write this. I don't know how to, shoot this video. YouTube is your best friend because they have YouTube tutorials for everything. So, and this is stuff that I'm learning because I'm trying to do other things for myself in my professional world. So it's just a matter of what can you show for yourself now, so that you're already ahead of the game for the job you want.
Right. I love that. Toy, I think that may have answered your question. If it did not, please send us a chat, let us know. But I think those answers are pretty much it.
I want to add one quick thing too. I still do this to this day, but I was doing this back when I was working my first job too. Whenever I'm in the job market, I always look at the job descriptions for the jobs I'm considering. And if there's anything in that job description that I don't know how to do, then I go learn it, right? So like the job I have now requires me to have some technical ability as it relates to like analyzing data for marketing. And I wasn't great at that before. So I made it my point to go take some courses to learn how to do that. And there's tons of free information out there, whether it's YouTube, there's Code Academy, there's Udemy, there's Coursera, there's tons of free information out there. So if there's anything that you don't know how to do for a job that you are interested in, then you should go learn how to do it so you can at least speak to it in your interview.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. I love the practical tips because a lot of times when you hear information at such high level, it's like, yeah, go on the network and go smile and just go into a room and make it happen. Like, what does that even mean?
That is so stressful to me.
So it's funny. I like that you said the word stressful because Adriana asked this question: how do you deal with the stress of going from college to the real world? Which is how do you deal with that stress? I'm sure it was a stress in that transition. So how do you deal with that?
I'll start. Just so you know, Adriana, the transition from college to real world is just one transition, and there are going to be more transitions. So there's going to be more stresses as you make transition throughout your career, throughout your life. So just don't think that this is just the one thing. But I think as far as just a self-care tip, find a network of people that you can bounce ideas off of, or that you can talk to. That's positive. I would say find you a network as far as self-care and dealing with the stress as that part. I would say find you a network of people who are going through the same thing as you, and then also mentors. And the mentor thing is a two-way street. You know, just check in with whoever your mentor is and tell them how you're feeling and how to deal with it. But it's just know this is something that has helped me throughout the way. This whole thing is a journey, and that there is an end. There is an end to this journey. It's just you have to go through the process. Like, you have to know that you have to go through this process to get to the next part of the transition. And knowing that you'll get there will just help you deal with the process a little better. That's one thing that helped me deal with the stress of transition.
Thank you for sharing that. So anybody else?
I agree with everything that you just said, and I would just like to add one additional point. I feel like going from high school to college is a transition in itself. And so since you have already dealt with that transition, take the different techniques and methods you've learned for that and just take them up a notch to the next level for the real world. Of course, life is all about experiences. We can sit here and tell you all the information in the world. And of course, it'll help you become more knowledgeable, but experience is one of the biggest and the greatest teachers. So I feel like, even though we can tell you how to prepare in a sense, and then y'all may disagree with me, but I kind of feel like it's kind of hard to prepare for stress period. You know, you can kind of do things to lessen the stress and make sure that it's not as much as you probably would deal with if you just went into a blindsided. But I feel like some things and some stresses you can't prepare for. However, once you go through the things, it makes you stronger, and you'll learn from it overall.
Anybody else like that?
I think that they hit the nail on the head pretty much about finding people that are also going through the same things as you, because you're definitely not alone in this. Like, and we've all done it. We're still doing it in some ways. You know, a lot of us aren't that far removed from college, so finding kind of that network of people that are able to kind of just help guide you, and you can share your low points and your high points with this group of people that are going through the same thing as you are. I think that's very underrated as to how helpful that can be, you know, for people. So finding that group of people, and also being open to opportunities and experiences. You have to make sure that you're open to things that are out there, and don't be necessarily afraid of failure, I guess. I think that's also a big thing, because it's just bad things will happen, you know, will happen. But you have to make sure that you are as prepared as you can be, kind of for those sorts of down days. So, I mean, because they will be there. So,
definitely. Thank you. All great answers. So, I see this question. Thank you all for asking questions. There's a lot of them coming in, and we're going to try to get to most of them. I see a question from Aaron that really stuck out to me. Have you ever been the only minority on a large team? And if so, how did you deal with it? I went to an HBCU, and this has been a bigger shock for me than I thought it would be. So this also corresponds with the question that I was going to ask: what were your biggest challenges in your role? So was being a minority in I'm assuming that your business may not have been as diverse as HBCU. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Anybody like to start? Sarah, I see you start.
One of the biggest, I'll answer your second question. My biggest challenges that I face to this day still is my age and how being a young professional, even though I'm older than I look 12. So walking into a school saying I'm someone's social worker or a teacher, I feel like some people who may have wanted to, I've had people tell me, well, I used to want to be a social worker. Oh, how did you get to do that young? And, it sometimes makes you look at yourself like, wow, versus people, encouraging you and taking you on. So I feel like one of my biggest stresses and things I've had to deal with more so than race has been age for me.
Age. I dealt with that as well in my first role.
Yeah. For I guess for me, I'm the only Black person on my team, and we only have about, for as far as editorial, there's probably about maybe 5 Black people at HuffPost now. Probably about 5, maybe. So I mean, it can be challenging, but I like to think of it as an opportunity, because sometimes I see stories that might fly over the heads of some of the other reporters and some of the editors, or they might not think it's important because of just sort of the diverse opinions that kind of we have. By being sort of that voice, I can kind of look at stories and I can tell them, like, hey, this story might resonate with this community more than another story. A good example is I wrote a story about Jewel Jones, who is he was a city councilman. He was about 19 when he became a city councilman in Inkster, and now he's a state rep. And so that story kind of was passed over by a lot of like major sort of news outlets, but I was the first one to kind of cover it and break it open, and it went like crazy viral, almost talking like 5 million views. So that's the sort of story that might kind of get passed over, but I think that it can kind of be an opportunity, kind of, because you have sort of the diversity of thought right there that you can kind of look and see stories that people might not necessarily see. That's just for me in journalism.
Love it. How about you, Sarah?
I have 2 words for that answer, for that question. Own it. Own what your identity is, whatever you identify as, because you don't want to be a drone. You don't want to blend. I mean, sometimes you're going to feel like you want to blend in, but just know that your unique experiences, your background has a place in the room. And you have to feel empowered that you do have a place in the room. And I give you an example of not knowing. There was a point where in my newsroom, my current job, I didn't know, or I was trying to hide. I felt like I couldn't, let that part of me out. And it was an example, real quick, keep it real short. The BET Awards, when Jesse Williams made his big speech about, Black people, we are not magic, he made a big speech, and I produced that next day, and I saw the BET Awards, like I don't miss them. So, but I didn't put anything about that, and then that was a big moment that was shared the next day on the Today Show, on all of the different socials. It was a big moment, and I didn't put it in my newscast. After the show, my executive producer sat me down and he said, Sarah, I thought that you might put that, I was surprised that we didn't have anything from the BET Award, because he watched himself, and he said, that was a big moment, and I just want you to. He made me feel empowered to bring my background, my things that I care about, that matters in the newsroom, in our newsroom, in my newscast. And when he gave me that permission, my boss, who is a white male, gave me that permission to be yourself, like what you're interested in is also newsworthy. That just made me realize, like, why am I trying to suppress who I am, what I like, as if it's not newsworthy, as if it doesn't hold any weight. So own who you are, own your identities, because you just never know how it'll make you stand out.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, quick question. I'm gonna add this one. What are you currently reading right now? How is it helping you? What are you currently reading?
I'll start. So I'm reading a book right now called Blink. It's by Malcolm Gladwell, and that book talks about basically thin slicing the different experiences that you have in your life and using those to make split-second decisions. Right. So he gives an example of a museum who had this statue. They bought this statue that was supposed to be like a real old statue. It worth a lot of money, and they spent all this money and all these years analyzing it to see if it was real. And another person who had experience in the field walked in it and knew within seconds that the statue was fake, because he had all these different experiences in his life prior to that point that allowed him to look immediately at the statue and recall all the things from his past and know that the statue was fake. So he gives a bunch of different examples. Malcolm Gladwell was a great author too. All of his books that I've read have been phenomenal, but this one has been beneficial just because, like, on a day-to-day basis, I've been able to like step outside a situation and quickly recall things that have happened to me in the past and use that to make a judgment in the heat of the moment.
I'm reading right now. I'm reading "Do Not Ask What Good We Do." It's about so it kind of chronicles the activities of Republicans and Democrats in the United States, the House of Representatives and the Senate during Obama's first term as presidency. So I'm reading that because I'm trying to. It's a little bit back to what we were talking about before. I'm trying to expand my skill set. So reporting on Congress and reporting on Capitol Hill is a pretty valued sort of skill to have. So I'm trying to teach myself more about it because I didn't pay attention to it in school. So I'm a little behind now, but I'm trying to learn some things about it and catch up, I'd say. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Awesome, thank you.
I'll go a little bit of a different route. Not that I'm not reading, but that I sign up for different newsletters, which have links to different articles, so that I'm not just so that I'm out of, so that I also get a daily dose of other news and articles, think pieces outside of like looking up different stuff for news that I do every day. So I'm just trying to get a sense of what else is going on nationally, and then also, I like culture, race, things that deal with that kind of news, and I don't always get to report on that kind of stuff in my daily job. My daily function. So I just kind of subscribe to different newsletters so that I can read different articles from different people.
Awesome, thank you.
The Blavity newsletter is one that I really enjoy. And then there's this another round, and there's another newsy one that I subscribe to that I can't think of the name of right now.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
I actually have a stack of books on my floor that I'm going to read.
Okay.
Right in my children's book, so I've kind of been focused on that. But the first book that I actually read, like the first 3 pages of about 2 nights ago, was $1 Million Mind. So I'm interested to see what I learned from that book.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm currently reading Switch by Dan and Chip Heath. It's about how to change things when change is hard. So really about change management. So no, great question, Vance. Thank you. Next question. We kind of touched on some of these throughout the conversation, but just for the people who may have joined late, what is your current role? What are you currently doing?
For me, I'm a senior marketing analytics manager at Amazon. So what that means is I oversee 2 of our digital channels. So our email channel, which is a really big channel for Amazon, and then also our search engine. So anytime you get on Google and search anything, my job entails that also. Basically trying to make sure that we're ranking appropriately for the words that we should be and maintaining the touch point of
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm currently a school social worker for, I'll say that, Clayton County Public Schools. And we basically eliminate the barriers between the family, the school, and the community, providing resources, helping families with different things they need, and just kind of being that mentor and other person to stand in for that child and the family. And I also am the CEO and founder of my own nonprofit called ROT, ROTU, and it stands for Raising Our Kings. And that was just founded to basically help women and inspire women to grow through what we go through instead of using it as an excuse that they, can't prosper and become better.
Love it, love it. Phil?
My name is Phil. I am a front page editor at HuffPost. So that means I pretty much I assign stories, I edit stories, and also I kind of get to decide what's the news of the day for the most part.
Sarah?
This intro is going to be a lot better than the first time around.
It's all good. It's all good.
I am a television news producer at WNBC, which is the local Channel 4 station. Summary producer equals control with limitations. But basically, I get to pick the stories in my newscast. I'm responsible for 90 minutes at 4 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. But I get to pick the stories, assign reporters. I write what the anchors say that comes on a prompter. And I have editorial control of that 90 minutes.
Thank you, thank you. So we have a couple questions about grad school. So I kind of want to lump these into each other. So first question, was anyone in grad school while working full time? If so, how did you manage? If working while earning the master's degree more or less beneficial than just focusing all attention on a program? So I know, Julius, you just graduated. Were you in school or were you working full time as well?
No, so basically, so I went to business school. I got an MBA at Emory University in Atlanta, and basically, a master's in business a lot of people use it to pivot careers, right? So I was in a career in a particular function in sales and operations that I didn't necessarily want to be in, and I was in the industry. I was working in energy at the time that I wasn't really interested in being in. So basically, I was at a point where I really wanted to have a career in marketing. And all the jobs I was looking for in marketing, I didn't have the experience. So they said you either need 4 years of experience in marketing or you need a master's in business. So for me, the master's in business was a way for me to transition into a field in an industry that I didn't have much experience in. And that's been the case for a lot of my friends. So I have friends who were elementary school teachers who are now investment bankers, which is two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But to answer your question, no, I didn't go. I didn't go full time. Sorry, I went full time. I was not working full time while I was in school. And generally, when you're making that big of a career transition, it's normal for you to go to school full time and to leave your job to do that. Now, if you just want to advance in your career, if you're good in your particular field, particular industry, and you just want to take a level up, then those people a lot of times go part time, so they work during the day, go to school at night just to get the extra knowledge and that degree on the belt so they can be their current function. But for me personally, I was looking to make a transition, so I went part time.
All right, awesome. Anybody else? Did they attain their master's degree?
Yes, I actually had a GA, which is a graduate assistantship, while I was obtaining my master's for the first year. And then they cut it off, and I worked for the Rape Crisis Center, which was kind of part-time during my second year. Me personally, like I said, I had to work because I had to eat. So that was just kind of how it worked out. If I could have done it without work and just doing the graduate assistantship the entire time, I probably would have. But I did know a lot of wives and husbands that had, whole entire families that they got through. So it's possible either way. It just depends on your living situation and what you have to do.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I went to grad school and I did work full time, which was a bad idea. That was kind of silly of me. I was trying to get out of there because I went to Wayne State in Detroit. And Wayne State, if you're familiar with the campus, it has a really notorious, it's notorious for people that get stuck there. A lot of people, when they talk about their Wayne State experience, they get stuck there for their graduation rate is 10 years, for some people. So I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. So I was working, I went for education, administration, leadership. That's when I thought I was going to be a principal someday or whatever. And I went ahead and I worked at a school full time. So I was working as a what was my role? I was working within the school, so I was pretty much running after kids all day. I wasn't in the classroom anymore, which was fine with me, but I was doing a lot of different things for the school. I was basically like an administrative assistant for them. So I was doing that, and then at night I would go to class. But I was full time because I was taking 12 credits. So I would not. I really there was no really at the end of the day there was no rush to do that. I don't know why I kind of was psyched myself out, and I actually got really sick. I stressed myself out, and I got really sick that 2014, 2015 year. I was sick because I was trying to keep up with classes and school, and amongst other things that I was doing just in life, just the regular stresses of life. So I actually made myself sick, and had to go to I had to go to the doctor officially to kind of do that. So I wouldn't, if I could go back and give myself advice, I wouldn't do that again, because going to school and trying to get all this stuff done is not worth your health. So that's something to think about. Like you can only put on so much that you can bear. So that's a good idea. It's a good idea to not put too much on yourself.
Awesome, man. So I think that kind of answered Nicholas Harper's question. So his question was, what is your advice to the young person that is a recent graduate and gets caught up in feeling pressure to enter grad school? Would anybody just have like some insight about your thoughts around that? Because I thought about it coming out of undergrad.
My advice would be, grad school is not a necessity for everybody, and that's a common misconception. A lot of people think it's a necessity. A lot of people go to grad school because they feel like they don't have anything better to do, because they don't have the perfect job they want, or they're not where they want to be in their career. My advice to anyone thinking about grad school is to only go to grad school if it's absolutely necessary for you to take the next step in your career. So for me, like I said, I was in a career that I was stuck in. I wasn't getting the experience I wanted. The job I wanted required me to have that degree, which is why I went to go get it. If it was not for that, I wouldn't have went. Grad school is a very expensive investment, and financially and from a time commitment, right? We all have a finite amount of time on this earth, and you don't want to go spend 2 or 3 years in school unnecessarily, right? And come out here in debt. So I would say any pressure you're feeling, regardless of where you're feeling it from or why you're feeling it, only acknowledge it if grad school is necessary for whatever it is you want to do in your career.
Oh, thank you. Great advice. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think that the thing that stuck out to me about Nicholas's question is feel pressure to try to keep up with friends, because your friends, depending on where you are in your career, it can seem like your friends are surpassing you, that they're kind of just passing you by, and you kind of feel stuck. I would just speak to that point, not even the grad school point. Like, you just have to figure out what your path is and like stay in your lane on your path, because you can get very distracted, looking at what other people are doing. And keep your eyes on your fries and nobody else's shit. What my teacher used to say.
I like that. Anybody else want to add any insight for the next question? Awesome, thank you. I also attended grad school full time while I was working. Julius gave me that same advice, and it helped me. It helped delay my interest in grad school. And I don't know if I ever thank you for that, but thank you. Because I probably would have made a bad decision to did something I didn't want to do. So I ended up getting a master's in organizational leadership, which is beneficial to me because I'm a learning and development facilitator for my organization, and have conversations just like these pretty much on a week in, week out basis. So it's helped me, my master's degree, and it helped me with my roles and the roles that I would like to pursue one day. So I think it depends. It's one of those big it depends questions. But thank you for everybody. We kind of touched on. Go ahead. You got one more?
So I know we talked about grad school and masters, but nobody said anything about fellowships. And fellowships are definitely an option for people. It's something that I'm researching now. Fellowships are basically, and somebody else chime in here because I'm new to this. But fellowships is a way for you to it can be as long as a year. It could be as long as 6 months. It could be like even like a weekend type of thing. But it's through a company, and you learn. Oh gosh, I'm about to look it up because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So while you're doing that, Phil, you know anything about fellowships?
Yeah, a fellowship got me this job. So I did a fellowship with HuffPost in 2015, and so this is when I got to. So in 2015, I was doing just a whole bunch of random jobs. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was substitute teaching here, and I worked at the University of Michigan's dental school. I was kind of just bumping around, bouncing around in the world of education because I was just like, okay, well, this is just where I'm going to be. I had no real intention on leaving Detroit. And I was just like, okay, or leaving Michigan rather. I'll just work here and just be fine with it. But a friend of mine told me like, hey, you're really active on social media. You should like look at working in social media or like working on Vine or, working on Twitter or something, And I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it'll probably be better than substitute teaching right now. So I looked up a whole bunch of different opportunities. And I got rejected by pretty much all of them because I didn't have any journalism experience. But I got an interview with HuffPost for their fellowship for politics. And so I was just like, okay, this might be different because Black faces in politics are very scarce. And I can figure out kind of if journalism is the way I want to go. So they ended up hiring me, thanks to John Ketchum, actually. John Ketchum gave me a lot of really good advice when I went ahead and applied. So I ended up getting that interview, and I ended up getting the job. And so I was like, and I liked it. So I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. Now let me figure out how I'm going to stay in journalism. So the fellowship opened the door for me to kind of get where I am now.
Awesome. Thank you. Bill, you make stuff shake on social media. Like you're on my timeline every 10 minutes, literally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the opportunity was always there. It's just the fellowship gave me the opportunity to kind of have a larger platform.
Awesome. And John Ketchum is Sarah Ketchum's husband. I don't know if anybody seen Sarah do a little dance, but that's awesome.
That was childish.
John is also my fraternity brother, and so we'll pivot because somebody did actually ask a question. Earl, he says, "I understand that all of you are members of Greek organization. How has joining a Greek organization helped you in your career thus far? Has it helped you being a part of a Greek organization?" I didn't ask the question.
I'll say, yeah, it's definitely helped me. I was talking earlier about how I met a guy at a conference in Miami, which led to me getting my internship with GE. And he was a fraternity brother of mine, so that was just like kind of a talking point, something we had in common. But the conference itself was a fraternity conference, so had that not been the case, I might not have met them. But I will say also, if you're not part of a Greek organization or have no intention in joining, don't be intimidated by like the idea of like someone having Greek letters having a step ahead of you, because it's really not the case. I mean, some of our most successful friends are not a part of any Greek organization, so it's 100% not necessary. There's other organizations that are equally as effective. There's the NAACP, there's the Urban League, there's all these different organizations that allow you to be enrolled with people who are in positions to make decisions on your career. So I would say absolutely don't go join a Greek organization just because you want to network. I would say if you want to network, you can network on your own. You can network as an individual, or you can join other organizations to network. So some of my success I'm a Kappa, by the way. Some of my success is attributed to Kappa Alpha Psi, but not all of it. By no means not all of it. A very small portion of it is actually.
Selena, how about you? Because I don't want to cut off Sarah, but I see she's making faces, so I'm going to go over to Selena first.
And, in addition, before I talk on the Greek life and how it's helped me, I'll also say one thing that I didn't learn until graduate school that has been helpful is like a resume booster, is join the organization for whatever profession you're in. So that definitely looks good on your resume, and then it keeps you knowledgeable about the updates and different ethics, rules, and things that your profession is going through. But I am a member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and it has helped me. Like you said, of course, by no means has it been just that one deal breaker. If I wasn't a Delta, I wouldn't have been as established as I am. However, I think it does help as far as networking, even though you can network on your own, not by any means saying that you need it to network, but it helps because when you go to different places, for example, Sarah's a Delta also, so that's something we have in common, and it makes us a conversation builder, and it helps us have something in common, to get to talk about, to go beyond to see how we could, benefit from one another moving forward. So it helps, but it's not a necessity.
I would just say, just remember, like, whatever network you are in, just try to make genuine connections with people. Like, whatever that network may be, just make sure that it's genuine, because that's what people will remember. So has it helped me when I got my first job or when I got my first job offer out of college. And that was from Zeta. No. She was SGRO, sorry. But she was Greek, and just me being Greek, that was something that we shared, but we also had a deeper connection just working in the same NASCAR program. So I would just say whatever network it is that you connect with somebody on, just make sure that it's genuine.
Awesome. Bill?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, John kind of helped look out, because I didn't know too much about the kind of the world of journalism. So I was asked him, some questions just about it, and he's also a member of my fraternity as well. So that was super helpful. I've been able to kind of reach out and contact alphas in the media, like Roland Martin and Jelani Kai with the New Yorker. So there's some I've been able to kind of reach out, but like was said before, there are definitely organizations that are not Greek that are super useful, like NABJ, which is something I actually need to learn about, the National Association of Broadcast Journalists. I'm kind of confused on it myself, because I'm not involved with it, but I want to be involved with it. So that's something I hear a lot about, and something I would like to join. And I am working on getting into a grad chapter as well. As I see your question, Brandon, I'm working on it. Eventually.
Same, Brandon. Same.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right. Thank you. Thank you for those questions from the audience. Those are great questions. So we're going to keep this conversation going. I'm going to try to land this thing about 9:45. I don't want to belabor this, but because it's a lot of great information, but we do want to keep it concise. So I appreciate it. The next question is about purpose. It's one of those buzzwords that's out right now. You got to follow your purpose, and this should be a part of your purpose. Is your current role a part of your purpose? Is this current role that you're in a part of your purpose? Anybody can start. Celine, that's why you shake your head.
I'll say, I feel like I have to watch what I say. I feel like, okay, just being honest, I feel like as a school social worker, that's my purpose, because I'm working with kids and I still do get to reach the kids where they are. However, I started the nonprofit because I still feel like within the school systems, there's still certain boundaries that I have to be careful of. Versus with the nonprofit, there's boundaries, but you have a little more leeway to do a little bit more and, reach a little bit more, kind of make your own rules in the sense of how you would like things to go. So I feel like my purpose is just anyone I come in contact with, just making sure I change their life for the better. Whether it's just speaking to them, saying hello and being something they're not used to, or whether it's just listening to a problem that they're dealing with, I feel like that's my purpose moving forward in life.
Awesome. Thank you. Great answer. Next.
I feel like I get to tell stories, and I like telling stories. I get to tell different, are they the stories that I want to be telling? Like, am I in a position where I get to tell the stories that I want to tell? I don't feel like I'm there yet. But also when it comes to your job and then other things you do outside of your job, that's important too, because that means you can have a job, your career, and that be, how you pay your bills. But you can also spend your time outside of your position, volunteering with organizations that do align with your purpose. So I just want people to know that depending on what you're seeking, if you're seeking for your job to be your purpose, for your job to be your life, then that's one way. But then there's also another option where you can go to your job, do your job, and then you have things on the side that fulfill the purpose that you're looking to fulfill.
Yeah. Love it. Next.
For me, I'll say at this point, I'm 29 years old. I'm not 100% sure what my purpose is yet. And that is I'm completely fine with that. I think that anything that happens to me in life or that I do in life is a stepping stone toward my purpose, whatever it ends up being. So, is playing around in Excel all day and sending emails my purpose? Probably not. I'm almost positive that's not it. But I will say that at which point I reached my purpose, I will look back at this time in my life and say that this was a stepping stone on that journey to my purpose.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you. Phil?
Yeah. So when I graduated, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Again, like that was really a stressful time for me because I was just confused. I didn't know what my purpose really was or what I was supposed to be doing. But now I at least know that I've narrowed it down somewhat. I still don't quite know exactly what it is that I should be doing, but I know that I've narrowed it down in this world of media. I know that this is where I'm sort of aligned to where I need to be. So elevating stories of people of color and elevating sort of stories that I know people need to hear and people need to see. Sometimes writing those stories, sometimes editing those stories. With this sort of really massive sort of outlet, it's very cool to be able to do. But I'm also not sure quite where I see myself in the next 10 years or whatever. But I'm able to just take it one day at a time, and I think that that's what sometimes we just need to do. We can't always look 25 years into the future. Sometimes we have to start today, and just deal with today. And that's just kind of what I've been doing.
Love it.
Can I just piggyback real quick off of? I'm not gonna piggyback. I want to just endorse what Phil said because sometimes you take a job and you can narrow down. I think narrowing down is like part of the process, and like if you can narrow down what you want to do or what you don't want to do, that's a win. And I think that gets you closer to what it is your purpose may be. I think if you take a job and you figure out this ain't for me, that's a win because now you don't want to do that.
Love it. Love it. I agree 100%. And that perfect segue into this next question because this was going to be speaking to me 10 years ago. So I probably need to hear this advice. So was the transition from college to where you are now exactly like you planned it? What was that transition, that process? We talked a lot about purpose and we talked a lot about process. Now, was the process exactly like you planned it? And how did you plan it? How did you plan it? And what happened? What was the result? Who wants to start?
Well, I gotta speak for myself in saying that I learned a long time ago that for me personally, planning my life just is kind of pointless, right? Like I can have goals and things that I plan to accomplish, but as far as like developing a roadmap for myself to get there, it just doesn't work for me. So I've become accustomed to like being reactive to things that are happening around me, but also at the same time being focused on what it is that I want to do and what the goal is that I want to achieve. So the path may vary, but the goal stays the same. So to answer the question, no, it's not at all how I planned it to be because I never planned it. I kind of just reacted to where I wanted to go, and I got there to where I got there.
So yeah, I just want to jump in really quick. Julius, we used to have these conversations, and I used to say that I'm going to be going to work in marketing and you're going to be working in logistics. We had this conversation like on our couch in college, and it completely flipped at one point.
Yeah.
Now the plan just blew up completely. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. I planned on having a career. Well, before I learned to stop trying to plan everything, I planned to have a career in logistics management. And Shell used to tell me how he was going to be working marketing and I was going to work in logistics and how my life was going to be so boring working in logistics. And now I work in marketing and Shell has the boring life in logistics.
It's actually pretty awesome. It's all good. All right. Great answer. Thank you. Matt?
Short answer is no. That's the short answer. No. What was the original question, Shell? Because I want to make sure that I give you a concise answer.
Yep. No, what was the transition like? So first of all, did you plan it? What was the transition? How did it weigh against your plan?
I knew I wanted to work in TV. I fell into news. That's how I feel like I fell into news. But then I ended up trying to figure out what I want to say here. I transitioned into TV. Like I knew my high school yearbook says TV producer underneath it. So my 2010 self would be really proud of me right now. And I'm proud of me right now too. But I am a TV producer. But now, once you get into what it is, now that I'm into what it is I want to do, I realize there's so much more beyond it. And that the position that I have, like trying to get to that next position, is a constant asking and meeting people to get to that next place. Also, you know, I will say this as far as like people's career, you know, prepare to travel, like prepare to go somewhere else to do what it is you want to do. I left Detroit to go to San Francisco, and I've been to DC, and now I'm in New York. And it's been a fabulous ride. But prepare to go somewhere else, get out of your comfort zone, and do what you want to do. You know, just prepare open yourself up to that opportunity for things to be different. Somebody said this to me, and then I'm gonna stop talking. When one door closes, like it's not like the door has slammed. It's like you just take a left turn, right? Like you're not stopping. You just take a little turn. So you just gotta keep taking turns to get to where it is you want to go.
Yeah, it's not rejection
like that.
Right. It's not rejection. It's redirection.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
I love it. Selena, did you want to go?
I think everyone pretty much covered bases as far as my initial answer. Because what was the question again? Just basically saying the transition between college to now, and did I plan it? Yep. Kind of piggybacking off Julius, I tried to plan it, and then I realized, you know, it didn't really work out the way I planned it. I felt like it was frustrating me more because it didn't work out like that. So I just kind of make an overall plan and then kind of just roll with the punches throughout the journey to get to that goal. So I set an end goal and roll with the punches however it takes me to get there. You know, I do whatever I have to do to make sure I get there. And I think that's just what you have to do. It's okay to plan, but be okay with the plan not going exactly how you plan for it.
Love it. Did you want to go, Sarah? I mean, we got about 5 minutes, and I want to get Phil.
Little things that you don't even think of when you are planning from college to your first job. It's like, do you want to work weekends? Do you want to work weekend overnights? These are little things that nobody tells you, and you're getting hello. These are little things that nobody tells you that end up being real world things, because that impacts your life. Like, okay, I can't actually go out and hang out with my friends on the weekend because I'm sleeping during the daytime so that I can go to my shift at night, which is my life. But anyway, these are things that you don't plan for, and that it's okay to think about and weigh whether or not it's important for you, especially when jumping to that first job.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Phil?
Yeah. So I would definitely I would say that, you know, at one point I wanted to be a doctor, you know, and that kind of just fell apart when I took my first chemistry class, you know. So, I mean, life really just takes you just different places. You just have to be prepared for where it's going to take you. You know, I think my younger self would probably be very confused as to how I got to where I am now. But as I moved kind of throughout the years, you know, I made myself more open to opportunities. So like I said before, I never felt like I was going to leave Michigan. I was fine with staying in Michigan. It was perfectly fine. But then, you know, I started to kind of open myself up to other opportunities. And now, you know, I've been able to live in New York and DC and go to all these sort of different places that I never would have even thought about, you know, had I not ever opened myself up to those opportunities. So that's just something that I think that we all need to kind of think more about, just opening yourselves up and being able to kind of grab life by the horns and take those opportunities when you can.
Awesome, thank you. And this is my last question. At night, once again, I needed to hear this. So, what advice do you have for that struggling college student? They're 2 months away from graduation. They're crying in their car because they just got rejected, or their only job prospect, and they're facing just the reality of not having the job after graduation. What advice do you have for that person? You need some inspirational words.
It's all a part of the journey. It gets better. Just keep pushing, keep going, don't stop. The road to success has almost just as many failures to get there. So if you're not failing, keep going. It's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna fail at least one time in their life. It's invincible, But don't let that failure break you. Let it make you keep going. And yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
My advice would be just like control the things you can control. There's a lot of things that will happen to you that are external to what you have grasp over and what you can actually control. So the things that you can control, just control them. So if you go into the job market, make sure you are in the right place for networking. Make sure you are prepared for your interviews. Beyond that, there's nothing you can do. You can decide what the conversation is like between the hiring manager, the hiring managers after your interview. You can decide the location that the job is going to be in. Those are all things that are beyond your control. So there's no point in really stressing out yourself out over those things. So just make sure you are very well aware of the things that you can control and then that you actually control.
Thank you. Phil, Sarah, fight for it.
I would just say stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. And that means that while you're in between looking for this job, because you're going to find a job, that's going to happen. But in that meantime, in between time, what are you doing to build your portfolio? Like I work in journalism, so somebody is going to need, there's a company out there, maybe somebody, mom and pop store that needs some kind of where your skill set can help them. I know everybody want a paycheck, but sometimes you just need to build up your portfolio and get some work behind you so that you can have something to show for it. And so make sure you weigh those opportunities when you want to, volunteer your time versus, getting a check. But I would just say build a portfolio and stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. Like you can, looking for a job is a job, and in that time, you can be doing stuff to build up your profile.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just know that you're not alone. Like a lot of us have been there. Like I would like to say we've all been there. I mean, before I even got into journalism, I applied to at least 700 jobs. I swear it was like 700 jobs. Because I mean, I was just applying to just random things because I was looking for a job. I was just like, okay, I just need to get paid at some point. But just know that people we've been there. We definitely know what you're going through. Find yourself a group that you can kind of vent to, and and while you're looking for those jobs, like Sarah just said, make sure that you are building kind of your own skill set while you're looking for those jobs. Even though I'm here at HuffPost, I'm still making sure that my own personal sort of stories and my own personal portfolio and social media, that I'm growing them outside of just what I'm doing with HuffPost, because I want to make sure that just in case something happens, I'm able to go somewhere else, or that I'm prepared for the worst, So make sure that you just continue and just put your best foot forward.
Awesome. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. So it's 9:45 now. Yeah, one question. I think this one's kind of important. This could kind of be our parting thoughts. How did you adjust to adulting? Like this thing we call it, are you just winging it? Are you just flying? Or is it, I know we talked a little bit about process. How are you adjusting to this? 9 to 5, friendships, maintaining those, making those. How are we adjusting? This is the last question, and then we're out of here. These could be your parting remarks as well. And then you can say your goodbyes as well.
I just like to start off by saying I've never known a 9 to 5. I've always worked an overnight shift. So that adjusting to that, knowing that there are different schedules out there, that was a wake up call to me. And that's also just part of part of my work environment. It comes with the territory. So I would say know what comes with the territory. And also, I listen to podcasts. From people who are my age or just about different topics to help me adjust to adulting. And that includes therapy. That includes, meeting new friends when you live in different places within the last 4 years, trying to make friends. And then, just I listen to different podcasts for different areas of my life that I'm trying to deal with. That's all.
Awesome.
That's how I do it.
For me personally, it's about balance. I like to make sure I play as hard as I work and I work as hard as I play. So I'll sit and listen to read different books, and like you said, listen to different podcasts and YouTube videos and go to different classes to enhance my knowledge. But on the other side of I may go, like I joked and said at the beginning, do the right things with my friends or listen to trap music, different things like that, just to clear my mind, because I feel like at one point I did do the wrong thing, just work, school work, no partying, nothing. I realized that was probably worse than going to a party and having a test in the morning. So you have to have that balance, find that balance of what works for you, because the balance that works for me, may not work for Julie, may not work for Sarah, may not work for Cleo. So just find the balance that works for you.
Awesome, appreciate it. Really quick, who we got next? Phil Juice?
I know. Adulting is lit to me. I mean, college is great because there's not another point in your life where you'll be in that close of proximity with like-minded people and have that little responsibility. But when you have a job, and your friends have money, and you can travel all across the world and go visit your friends in different cities and buy nice things, it's just a different type of fun. So I've enjoyed it.
I agree. And Phil?
Yeah, I'm kind of just winging it. I'm not I'm not too sure about everything that's going on. I'm still learning a lot of stuff, just like little stuff, I guess. Just about I gotta decorate my apartment. It's little stuff. Stuff that I really haven't thought about. If it was up to me, I'd just sleep on like a little poncho or whatever. But it's stuff you got to think about. Stuff you got to think about adulting. So I'm kind of just winging it, but it's good to be able to talk with other people. I ask for advice of my older friends and fraternity brothers and all that. So it does help.
All right, that's it. I love it. Thank you for the conversation, Phil, Sarah, Selena, Julius. We appreciate you. I appreciate you for sharing this knowledge with our audience. They're grateful. I can tell by the comments. So thank you for our audience, our participants, for coming to our first virtual event. This is exciting. This is exciting for me. We got this thing off the ground. We're going to keep it going. So be on the lookout for more virtual panels, webinars, blogs, information, just stuff that will help you get to the next level, things that will help you elevate, things that will help you just reach your goals. So remember, just jump. If you're not reaching, you won't reach it. We appreciate you. Thank you. Jumprecruits.com, @jumprecruits for social media, jumprecruits.com. Go ahead and sign up, and we'll get you to our beta version. You'll get our information first. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. I'm going to end this thing.
Bye.
All right, thanks.
Love you all. Thank you. Bye.